Hello everyone, and welcome to the new season of Otaku Sentai Podranger. This is your host, B-Shuck.
And Ben.
And we got new recruits, if y'all would like to introduce
New
yourselves.
Rangers.
Alrighty, thanks guys. To everyone tuning in, my name's Jose. I'm gonna be just another face to the podcast, and I gotta be honest, I'm nervous, but I feel like we just gotta unwind a bit so we can go ahead and dive right into this. I'm super excited to talk about this series. I started dabbling with the Tokusatsu series not too long ago at genre rather. See, I'm nervous. But
we're all nervous when we started.
Don't begin before long, don't worry. This is
but like I said, we got a lot to talk about. I really want to give my insight because I do think this series in particular really is something special, and I can't wait to get through it.
And our other one?
I am Lane, also known as Walrus Balls. I am also brand new to the Toku genre, and I am super excited to get into this, to talk about it, to dissect it, and just see where it goes.
100% new. I mean, you got into that 70s Toei Spider-Man show.
That's true.
Oh yeah,
true.
Spider-Man.
That show was incredible.
It's like you're going from 1977 Spider-Man to 2025 Gozyuger, and it's a hell of a leap.
It is a time leap, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
And what better time too? Because this is the 50th anniversary series of
Super
Sentai.
Yep, we got
me and B-Shuck. We finished our first project with Gottfried Cast. Now this is our second main project. We're going to be focusing on Gozyuger.
Yep, number 1 Sentai Gozyuger. Well, gee, is it number 1 or number 50? Not fully sure, but
we will find out.
The important thing is that this has been 50 years in the making. And I've personally been super excited for it because, Super Sentai was more or less my introduction to the Toku genre, and I've been a fan for well over 10 years now. So,
oh wow,
seeing the franchise build up to this very moment, it's feels like it's been a long time coming. And this season just looks to be an utter Ragnarok of the franchise.
Just totally flips everything we know about Sentai on its head. We're in for something special.
Definitely.
And the only Sentai series I've watched is the one before this, Bakuwagai Sentai Bunbunger. So this being my second ever Sentai series and my first ever anniversary series, I'm very interested to see the history kind of before my eyes here in the coming weeks.
It's going to be a hell of a crash course. But, I do want to mention for any longtime listeners of the cast, we unfortunately haven't done any GOV podcasts yet, although we have been watching and enjoying that show. And we do plan on doing full series retrospectives for Boom Boonger as well as Ultraman Arc, just so we can finally give closure to our thoughts on our time watching those shows. But we would simply be too remiss to pass up talking about this legendary, monumental milestone of Super Sentai as it's fresh and currently airing. So we're going to be diving right in.
But on New Rangers.
Ooh, yeah.
Which would y'all like to give your first impressions, each of you, to this show? What you thought of it going in?
I'll let one of our new members go first.
Oh, okay. I'll gladly kick this off. Okay, so just to start off, like I said, I haven't been watching the genre that long. I've only watched a small amount of the original Kamen Rider along with some of Geats and I think Ryuki, being the other one.
Nice.
And then occasionally I'll watch an episode or two with the guys. Be it I think it was mainly just just a handful of Boom Boom Jir episodes, right? Besides that, I don't. I did watch
a little bit of Arc.
Gav. I think that one
time.
time.
Yeah.
So definitely. Yeah, no, definitely not. Especially if we compare to B-Shuck, but I'm growing. I'm trying to get more into this. It's. Oh well, I mean, I'm sure you guys know it's such a colossal thing to get into. There's just so many series.
Definitely.
It can be pretty daunting.
Gonna dive right in.
Yeah, you've experimented with it a little bit, but I definitely have the most sage wisdom about it, just for how game I've been.
Right, and let me just say, I think this was a golden opportunity to get started with Gozyuger, simply because new series. I mean that should be pretty easy to get into, right? And the few shows I've seen definitely did help. I do appreciate we're at a point where the effects for these types of series are constantly improving. I watched this episode 1 with y'all, and we weren't stopping damn, this looks way better than some of the past couple of Toku shows. They really went all out. It really does feel like just a celebration of the genre.
Oh yeah, they put a lot of work into this one.
Yeah, I think it feels overwhelming when you look at the amount of Sentai series that there are that have obviously been going for the past 50 years. But I think this show so far is it's a good culmination of just the love that people have poured into this franchise for all those years, and it's a good stepping stone if you're trying to get into it, because you might not get everything right away, but you're gonna see it and you're gonna say, oh, that's badass, I want to go watch whatever that's from. It's so cool, and I'm enjoying it, having a great time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just from I think my first impression of it, because Boom Boom Jir was a pretty formulaic show, and not that that's a bad thing, but if this show kind of sticks with the formula that it is presenting, which we'll get into that soon, oh man, it's going to be one of the greats, because it's taking pretty much a lot of the tropes that we know from Sentai and just turning them on their head. I'll wait till we get to the points, but so far, the way they have it set up, the way they have the characters written, just the concept in general. At first I was a little, I felt a little anxious, being I'm not going to get any of these except for Boom Boom Jir. But man, they really we got something special here.
Mm-hmm. And I'll go ahead and say that from the moment I saw the trailer, I really knew this was going to be something special. We have 5 characters who are all they make a special point to say that they're all outcasts in some kind of way, and none of them really want to work together. And it in fact almost seems like kind of a, we've had a lot of battle royale type writer shows like Ryuki, Gaim, Geats, but I never thought we'd get a battle royale Sentai show.
Yeah, that's
where
I'm really interested to see how they handle it.
Mm-hmm.
It's 5 rangers, as well as the villains, the Baraidon from No One World, and their number 1 monsters, as well as
number 1. Sorry, I had to.
Number 1 is a very potent motif in this show. You couldn't tell already. We're going to be saying it quite a lot. Even past rangers that aren't the past rangers, but people using their powers for their own. And it's just a race to see who can get the most Sentai rings, the collectible MacGuffin of this season. And it's going to be very exciting to see how this goes throughout the show, how the competition is going to progress. And we're going to get right into it with episode 1, which begins with a pretty epic sequence of all these Sentai robots, or Megazords, if you will, clashing against this demonic, shadowy force that's just totally wrecking them. But a savior appears, the newest Megazord, known as the Tega Sword. Now, wait a minute, doesn't that kind of rhyme? Surely that's not a coincidence. Tega Sword? I don't know. I think they're really referencing something there. But the Tega Sword.
They know what they're doing.
As the Tega Sword appears, really, my jaw was on the fucking floor. Like, I guess it was like the final savior, basically. It takes all the sacrificed powers of these past Sentai and imbues them with its own power and just spreads them all throughout the world for a race to collect them all to begin. And and now we cut to our protagonist, Koiru Tono, who's working a shitty job at a convenience store with his good friend. His good friend, what's his name? Tsutsumi?
Yeah, yep. Tsutsumi.
Who was played by Taya from Boombunger, the Red Ranger. Which
goes to show how far a pair of glasses actually goes to conceal your identity. Because I literally had to talk without the Ben because he didn't notice it.
Wow.
Because I was in the beginning, I thought he was talking about Horu Tono. It's like, dude, that's Taya. And I'm like, that's Taya? That doesn't look like Taya. And then, like, I see the dude in glasses. I'm like, oh, wait, that's Taya. What the heck?
Yeah, like, even, like, just very different, like, voice and... like, he's literally playing a different character and doing a really good job to differentiate. And, I think we're going to get a lot of that in this show, like, past Sentai actors, like, playing new types of characters. Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. But anyway... some drama happens. We get a public freak out with these guys who are trying to rob the store. And so Tono takes a little hot dog and like cuts it open before it squirts in his eyes and just fucking kicks his ass in a very well done scene. Like feels some IRL Yakuza type shit.
Those jumbo beef franks are a luxury.
Frank heat action.
Yeah, I literally said, like, oh my god, this man's just out here doing a heat action on this poor dude. And then what does he get in return? Oh, he just loses his job despite his efforts. Yeah.
Messed up. The dude, like, he saved the store. His manager's like, get out! I think Tsutsumi, I don't think he got fired, maybe? Or,
I don't believe so.
I know he also left with Horu.
Sadly, justice didn't prevail because Tono got fired for basically doing the right thing, just because it wasn't company policy or whatever. Yeah. The customer's always right. But anyway, we near immediately cut to Fire Candle of the Brydon organization, who's already about to start some trouble with his giant robot that's being worked on, and he's on a quest for the rings as well, or at least a specific ring that he needs to prevent the Tega Sword from awakening. There's going to be a lot of jumping scenes because this show just goes at such a breakneck pace to make as much stuff happen as possible. So it's like we have, the scene of the convenience store incident, and it cuts to Fire Candle at No One World, and now it cuts back to Tono and Tsutsumi having a nice moment where Tono promises to pay back the $1.65 that he owed some food that he got him. And he talks about how he doesn't have any dreams or wishes. He's just kind of going with the flow, directionless. Pretty really
trying to survive.
But then here comes Fire Candle and his giant ass robot King Candler, just destroying everything.
Yeah. And let me tell you, the effects are crazy compared to Boombunger. Like, we literally see, like civilians and destruction in the same sequences. Like, we never saw that in Boombunger.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, it's crazy.
Like, I think King Candler just coming in, popping in out of the Ferris wheel, and then just immediately going to town, just launching flames everywhere, swinging the sword around. The flaming sword, the effects on that looked incredible. I loved that. It looked so good.
Sword on fire. That's real flames.
It was so good.
Those still flames, dude. That's crazy.
That's just classic tokusatsu craftsmanship.
And that's the shit
So
I
good,
love.
man.
I am a sucker for practical, anything and everything practical. So that
yeah.
just warms my heart when I see that.
And of course, we also got the foot soldiers, who I forget what they're called, but they have like they have bell heads that like they
Yeah.
Yeah.
what you'd ring in like a boxing ring, like a boxing match or something. But
How it's kind of set up is there's a bunch of silver ones, and then there's one leader that's like gold. It's pretty straightforward with the mob enemies.
yeah, it's a pretty simple motif.
The grunt design looks good. Like I'm a fan. They look they got that on. They have that on.
But anyway, so you'd think all this shit's happening, and it'd be Tono's time to shine, but no, it's actually Tsutsumi who runs in to join the fight, and you'd think it'd be time for a little boon action type stuff, given that's the actor, but no, he actually takes out a silver Tega sword morpher and transforms into none other than Kuwagata Oger from 2023's Osama Sentai King Oger. It very much feels like the Deadpool and Wolverine bit of like, you think Chris Evans is Captain America, but he's actually the Human Torch. Yeah, it's a very cool sequence to see Kuwagata Oger back. Like, I really enjoyed that season.
That was a really, really cool fit. I never watched King Oger, but my god, the character design is just crazy.
I really love it. It's one of my favorites. But yeah, Tono gets hit in the crossfire by a random blast that's launched towards him, and it sends him through a portal where he ends up where the Tega sword is slumbering, and gives Tono some flashbacks that are still a little fuzzy. But the Bell Grunts appear and nab the ring, and they try to steal it, but the ring is so powerful it's one of them gets absorbed like a black hole.
It was wild. He just walks up to it, grabs it like nothing.
Wears
like,
it.
Yeah,
Then...
I have the ring, guys. I have.
She couldn't do all that. And then now we get another member of Buraidon, Bouquet the Loving, who appears and tells Tono that this ring has a very destructive power, and it's needed to awaken the Tega sword. And Tono is reflecting on all this shit going on, and he realizes, wait a minute, forget the end of the world or whatever. I gotta pay this guy his $1.50.
Yeah.
And so he's like, what? It's to repay my debts. I'll do anything. So he puts the ring on and forms a contract with the Tega sword, and thus begins his involvement in the war for the rings. And we actually get a flashback of Tono as a child with his mom. They're like, I guess, homeless, running around in the alley. And it actually, if you look at the background, looks like they're on No One World, which adds a layer of mystery, like what they're doing there. But we get a key moment where his mom tells him to smother his heart. And, obviously that trauma has impacted Tono in the present to where now he feels like he doesn't want to do anything. But now he's found something to do, and that is become a Gozyuger and strive to be number one with the Tega sword.
And I especially love that because it's pretty dark, right? Because like his mom is just as he's like a kid, she's like, "Do not dream, smother your heart, like just you just want to survive. You're not gonna live in this world." Like, and then him to be like, "Yeah, I want to be number one." I feel like that's pretty damn inspiring, especially it's like someone who had pretty much like probably like a really messed up background in his childhood, like him standing up and vowing to be number one, like he's gonna be legendary. Tono Horu is gonna be in the history books, man.
Yeah, this whole sequence with him accepting the contract and using the Tega sword, dude, I love it. The setup for it is amazing. That and the like how the first fight of the series sets up as well. That whole sequence where he fights the King Candler. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Fire Candle is who he's fighting, but he pilots the King Candler.
Yeah.
But yeah, that battle introduction sequence, like you said, is like really flashy. Oh, I don't know if you had any more to say. I didn't mean to interrupt.
I just wanted to add that it almost felt like him, or that Tono getting the Tega sword. It almost just gave him purpose. Because, like, you know, he's walking around a shell of a man, and then he gets this power, and, well, I mean, he's got a purpose now, and, like, it's inspirational. Like, it really is.
Oh, definitely. It's like, you know, got nothing else to do, may as well become a superhero.
Yeah.
No, guys, you don't understand. I need to give back that 165.
Man, I mean, you know, no matter how small, he always repays his debts. The Tegasword, like, transformation sequence itself is also really good. Like, the way he howls and it parts the clouds, and the Tegasword, like, comes in like a spaceship. The CG is good. Like, the CG of the...
They put a budget into this show, you can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the morph sequence of, like, the thing turning from hand mode to, like, Tegasword Robo form. It's really cool. And, yeah, it's interesting that when they're actually not in the Ranger suit when they get into the, like, Tegasword. Because I guess, you know, they have the, like, when they switch the ring out, it's not the Ranger ring that's in the small Tegasword changer that they have, but rather the Megazord, like, activation ring. Mm-hmm. So it's a pretty interesting sort of subversion. And, of course, like, yeah, to explain, like, the Tegasword is the morpher that is also the Megazord. And each Ranger has, like, a small one, but the small one awakens the, like, giant Tegasword to transform into Robo mode. So when they're in the cockpit, they have the small Tegasword, like, in Megazord formation, and it looks just like the toy, and they use it as, like,
the marketable plushie, or, well, not plushie, the figurine in the call that time.
Oh yeah, the marketable deluxe toy that you can get at Toys R Us for like $80 or whatever. But yeah, it's like we get that sequence, and then, as we mentioned earlier, we get the sequence where it's like the beginning of the #1 battle, where they introduce both sides like a wrestling match, and it's just style and hype incarnate. Like, I was popping off super hard watching it, and, you know, might have also been because I was 3 Bud Lights in, but I mean, I feel like that's an ideal way to watch the show, because it just really maximizes the excitement that you feel watching it.
And watching the two of them just jump into the ring like it was an actual wrestling match, and then there's the cheering in the background. Like, it was the definition, like, that is how you hype up a fight. Like, that is the way to do it. That was
and they got that
incredible.
Got that crazy fight card at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's where you really see, like, the video game.
The graphic design is crazy. Yeah, they took a lot of inspiration from games.
Yeah, it's like they took, like, the visuals of, like, Street Fighter, Tekken, and Smash Bros. And just wrapped it up into this beautiful Sentai just roll of goodness. And, yeah, so we get the Megazord fight between the Tegasword and King Candler, and it's a very explosive one. Like literally, like, a lot of cool, like, explosives are used on the set. And it looks super nice. Very dynamic, too. Like, the Tegasword's got some crazy movement. Like, it becomes, like, it can switch into hand form and, like, chop King Candler directly in the face. It's some crazy shit that happens.
I thought the cool part of that fight was just how versatile Tegasword is, like, especially with the spin attack that he does, and he slices them with the wing on the back. I thought that was so cool.
Sick.
Oh, yeah.
That was so cool.
Because, like, the mechs now feel, like, as nimble as the Rangers do. Because, like, say in last season, like Boom Boomger, you know, you could feel the weight behind all of his like movements, but here it's like they almost feel like just like a different, what is it? A different variation of a ranger themselves. You know, really cool.
Yeah. It reminded me a lot of View Soldier, which is one from 2019 that I think really pushed the boundaries of what they could do with the Megazord fights, because those ones did some like real crazy acrobatic shit and also had a ton of explosions. They've been really pushing the limits of the Megazord fights like to like make them really exciting, and I think this season's going to be the pinnacle of that. Tono finishes off King Candler with his finisher, Outlaw Breaker. It's like the coolest name for a finisher in all of Sentai, probably.
Oh yeah.
Even this finisher like has like it shows the title of it, like almost feels like how Kamen Rider 01 did its finishes, and it's really good. It fucking splits King Candler right in half, just obliterates it, and then Tono jumps out of the Megazord, does his transformation sequence to become Goju Wolf, the Red Ranger. You know, another really nice, like nicely animated sequence.
Oh yeah, dude, the suit design's great, and that's another thing with the formula, where it's like they start off with the Zord fight, and then they go into Ranger form. Where it's like it's literally turning it on its head, right there, you know.
Oh yeah,
formula.
nice.
Yeah, because like Boom Boomger, you could like the formula was pretty tangible. Like they transform, beat an auto monster, and then it would like Yarikar would turn it big, and then they would turn the Boom Boomger, and yeah.
To it.
Here kind of feels a lot more open ended.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it definitely feels like Boom Boomger in general was like intended to be as traditional as possible, just so it would be a contrast to how revolutionary this new season is.
Oh yeah, I'm glad I watched Boom Boomger, because like now like seeing this, it really feels like a new chapter in the series. Just like in like everything, in terms of formula, in terms of design. I mean, hell, the budget is just so good. Like you could tell, like they put money into this show, a lot of it.
Oh,
This dead serious content right here.
Oh hell yeah! But yeah, right after he transforms, he howls once again, and it's so loud that it like cuts to the other Rangers, that, like hearing him and like seeing that Goju Wolf is awakened, and like that happens right as the opening song kicks in, and I was just losing it by this point. Like the hype is through the roof. Yeah, it just goes right into Goju Wolf beating some ass on these grunts, and yeah, the choreography is super exhilarating. Just like he freaking leg sweeps a grunt, and the grunt literally like flips right over like a 360. One of them like tries to hit Goju Wolf in the face, and like the hit connects, and he doesn't even react to it. He just fucking grabs the weapon and tosses it. Then of course, you know, this leads to the now deeply iconic sequence of Goju Wolf's fucking combo on a grunt. Like the fucking punch, leg sweep, punch combo, the fucking kick up, then kick down.
Dude,
like, damn.
yeah.
Man got hit with a 10-hit combo from Tekken.
For real.
Literally trained under Kazuya Mishima for this shit.
Yeah, I think I told you guys this. Like I had that sequence spoiled to me, for better or worse, but it was one of those clips that I just saw on my timeline that made me go, okay, yeah, maybe the hype is justified, because that might have been like the coolest thing I've seen all day.
Oh yeah,
I love
like,
it when live action shows curb realism like that.
Yeah.
It feels like a game in the best way possible.
Which, like, when he does that final hit on the grunt, it even replicates like the Smash Bros. Like animation when you land a final hit on your opponent and it freezes and does like the animation. Like they literally copied that shit right from Smash Bros. Couldn't love it anymore. And then of course, you know, once he knocks that grunt back to the other ones and they all explode in a fiery death, it does this really flashy win card for Goju Wolf, and it's just the cherry on top. This show is like the most stylish thing I've ever seen, and I'm literally addicted to it. Like that Tekken combo plus win card, I've had to have watched that clip like literally maybe 100 times at this point. Like I'm so obsessed with it.
Yeah, that win card really just made it feel like a fighting game.
The win card and the announcer voice.
It nailed it home. It really did.
Winner.
Yeah, so a lot has happened, but we're finally at the credit sequence of this episode, and Tsutsumy's playing on his old electric guitar, which is kind of a reference to Kaya from Boom Boonger playing on his guitar. There's a little bit of a connection there. And Tono finally gives him the fucking cup of coins to repay his debt, which, I don't know, guess you can take that shit to Coinstar or whatever, I don't know. It's like, is it really repaying a debt when you're giving me a cup of coins that I'm gonna have no use for?
Shoot, that's another burger for the walk home.
Oh yeah,
pocket change.
Heck yeah!
And I think Tsutsumi realizes this because Tono's like, "I'm gonna be number one, and I'm gonna find my wish." And he's walking away, and Tsutsumi just becomes King Oger and attacks him. Being like, "You don't deserve that ring." And then boom, episode 2.
It's like, what do you do?
Unjustified crash out right there.
Yeah.
I did think it was interesting that Tono has the gold like Tegasword morpher, and then Tsutsumi has a silver one. So I kind of want to know like where that came from, and like how many other people potentially have like a silver like morpher like that.
I wonder if it'll be like a platinum one later on.
Yeah,
this episode does introduce a lot of like mysteries, like a lot of stuff that's like there, that's unexplained, that makes you think. And maybe these are like artificial Tegaswords that were created by some mysterious organization. Like that's my theory right now. But we don't know yet, so it's up to speculation. But now we're on to episode 2, which, directly continues with the fight between Fuagata and Goju Wolf. And, of course, since it's a battle for the rings, that makes them inherent rivals, adding to this sort of battle royale flavor to the show.
Yeah, it was kind of cut short a bit, I feel, because the previous episode, like, it was kind of hinting at, like, this, like, all-out fight. And, I mean, yeah, we kind of got it, but I feel like they could have been just a little longer.
I was kind of let down by that because it was like the 20 seconds of recap while they were still fighting, but I was like, where did the last episode fight like end, and where did this one begin? Because it just felt like it was over so quickly.
They slapped each other a couple times.
I think we're definitely going to see them in the future, so maybe the best fights between them are yet to come.
I hope so.
But,
I certainly hope so.
Because I'm trying to think, if I were a King Oger fan and I saw King Oger get the crap kicked out of him, I'd be like, I don't know how I feel about that. So I'm interested to see kind of how they treat, like, because they got like, someone is a fan of everyone in a series this big, and so I'm interested to see how they kind of treat that. Because I mean, obviously, I'm pretty sure they have nothing but respect in mind. Because this show, man, you could just tell it's been made with it's just an absolute love letter.
Absolutely. But yes, as we've gone on about, the fight does indeed get cut short, but it's cut short by more ring seekers. In this case, 2 new members of the Gozyugers that we'll get to know quite well in this episode. And so, Tsutsumi vows vengeance, and we cut to the opening, which the opening is a very cutesy sort of dance number type opening. It's so charming, and again, this opening I've rewatched so many times because they've made every last aspect of the show so addicting, just so it can waste as much of my time as possible. It's not a waste of time because my soul is enriched as I just obsess over this beautiful show.
Yeah, I found it pretty charming. I do like the little like dance choreography they do with the cardboard cutouts. I thought that
Oh,
was
yeah.
really cute.
That was
I love
that was
the
nice.
Oh yeah.
I love the cardboard. I love the little bootleg Fortnite dances they do. And yeah, and that rotating shot where it's like them in the back, like it's a continuous shot of like them like doing their little dances, but like as they rotate, not only do they go in and out of ranger form, but like the background changes seamlessly, and it's just like, how did they even do that? Like that's fucking crazy.
Revolutionary
think-
opening.
I do think though that the opening might be a bit of censorship to like quell the nerves of parents, because I feel like if they made this opening actually true to the show itself, it'd be something like the church shootout scene in Kingsman.
Oh
Just
yeah.
total violence and madness of
Fucking
just
bodies upon bodies.
be a fucking massacre. But I still love the opening for what it is, and I'll be happy to see it for the next like 48 episodes. Yeah, we got Tono getting bugged by his landlady about rent, and obviously Tono gave like the last $1.50 he had to his friend. I could have gone to rent money, but whatever. So Fire Candle's still alive back at No One World. His mech was destroyed, but he got out. But he's pissed off and he wants vengeance. And his good friend Cassius Bell, who's
My
literally
beloved.
just one of the, yes, a very beautiful man, who's literally just one of the Bell grunts, like no visual differences. He just has a funny name, and is basically best friends with Fire Candle. Like they have like a little handshake and everything. And we get another member, like the third general of the Baraidon, who is a Siamese twin monster, or I guess two monsters who are Siamese twins
really
with
cool.
each other. Miss Sweet Cake and Mr. Shining Knife. And they've already dispatched a number 1 monster, also known as a No One, to go to Earth and fuck shit up. And yeah, we get a little bit of foreshadowing about a queen as the camera cuts back to this giant sort of like stone face that like seems to be slumbering. Adds another layer of mystery to these villains.
I think it was pretty cool that like this is one of the only Sentai shows or like Tokyo shows that I have seen aside from like a few older ones, but it's so refreshing to see a higher up commander leader guy like actually have a rapport and be friends with like a grunt. It's it feels it's so nice that it adds like another little layer of humor to it.
Oh yeah, they're definitely very fleshed out characters. It seems like So
really
this
good job at presenting them, I feel.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, because like in Bunbunger, like the main bad dudes, they kind of got crapped on by the higher ups. Yeah, this show I feel like it's almost like how the first Die Hard. Like the main villain was like shooting the shit with all of his lackeys. Yeah, I like that just because it kind of makes the villains a bit more just like you don't even love to hate them. It's like they're just lovable assholes.
Yeah. So we cut back to the landlady, who's haunted by a mysterious voice asking if she wants treasure, and I guess it appeals to her sense of greed. She is a landlady after all, and it pulls her into a portal. And she gets possessed by our number 1 treasure hunter. And, as his name suggests, he is the best treasure hunter that No One World has to offer. And, just starts fucking blowing shit up, looking for treasure. And, he gets confronted by Tono. And, as this confrontation begins, we get this guy lugging a giant piano and just fucking plops it down on the ground and starts playing a little song, a little religious hymn dedicated to the Tegasword. If you couldn't tell how breakneck the pace of this show is, you certainly do by this point, because
He literally had a piano, a grand piano, just lifted up with one hand over his head.
Just
slams it down.
Dude throws it down, no damage to the piano whatsoever. Perfectly tuned.
Perfectly tuned, yeah.
That piano should have
Crazy.
fucking crumbled and become a pile of wood and ivory.
Dude, that piano was blessed by Lord Tegasord himself to be in perfect tune.
A divine blessing.
Honestly.
And if it couldn't get any more ridiculous, everyone just sees it and they're like, okay, well, let's see what this man has to do, and they just let him play the piano.
I mean, shit, I would. I mean, I wouldn't want to fuck with that guy. If he can lug that giant piano, like, what the fuck's he gonna do to me if I get in a fight with him? It's like, he can do whatever he
Not
wants.
even in Ranger form, and he's already doing just inhuman feats.
And then the other ranger who we saw earlier, who's like a pop idol, who also tries to start his own little music number, appears, and of course they transform and become Goju Lion. That's the well, the religious guy who lugged the piano is Goju Tyranno, the Yellow Ranger, and the pop idol is Goju Lion, or Goju Leon, actually, the Blue Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they start whooping ass on some grunts, knocking them down, and then the number one treasure hunter explains that if they want to beat him, they got to beat him at his own game, in which case treasure hunting. And that I already predicted that this would be the case just watching the trailer. Like, it seemed like they were doing like a lot of random shit, and I figured it'd be a lot like Geats, where like every number one monster confrontation would be a different competition, which like that was one of my favorite aspects about Geats, was the game aspect. So to see that blatant influence in Sentai is very exciting. So yeah, it's a number one treasure hunt between the number one monster and between the three Gozyugers that we now have. So it's like even the Rangers are competing with each other here. Let's see.
And boy, the things they do to get rich.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now the three Gozyugers are about to fight about this to see like who will even get to, get to participate. But Goju Leon's kind of the mediator, who's like, we're a team. We gotta, call a truce and work together on this so that the monster doesn't win. But yeah, they introduce themselves. Goju Tyranno's real name is Bakugami Ryugi. It's, of course, the religious nut for the Tega sword. Then Goju Leon is Byakuya Rikuo, who is clearly very narcissistic with how he tells Tono to brag about meeting him. Really showing just how much he values his Aldi status.
Like, he had said that. He was like, brag to your friends about meeting me. And I'm like, dude, right now, from like where I'm sitting, it feels like I just met my local SoundCloud artist. Like,
yeah, literally. I mean, shit, freaking Bakugami's like more of a real musician than he is right now.
Yeah.
Like, like, if this were American Idol, I know who I'd be voting for. So yeah, we cut to probably my favorite sequence in the entire show so far. Tono piloting the Sword, digging up the local park,
Oh my
really
god.
terrorizing people who are running away from him. Just fucking...
It's like buried treasure, just fucking
like
scraping up
some dude
the
exits
ground.
his tent, and then Tegasord just stabs in front of him. Like, what are you doing, dude? What if he didn't move?
Yeah, he very nearly killed innocent civilians doing this shit. Like, man, I wish I could give as little of a fuck as this guy does. And it's so funny thinking to, like, Power Rangers, where there's this very strict code of conduct on how you're supposed to use the Megazords. Like, you can't just whip them out instantly. But clearly that level of etiquette just does not exist in this show. We have Tono just casually piloting the mecha with his feet, with his fucking holy ass fucking ripped up socks.
Ripped up socks, eating in the cockpit, like just doesn't care.
Serial chilling right now while he's doing this treasure hunting, and
yeah, and then
Rikyo, or was it? Yeah, it was Ryuji. Ryuji takes great offense to this.
yeah, going as far as chucking a whole tree, which was nuts. I'm like, oh, he's not gonna do that. Oh, okay, never mind. He pulled the whole thing out just like that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, but he does not approve of the Tegasword being used in such a blasphemous manner, and maybe he's onto something. Like, he really is just like he's gonna be like a fucking felon for doing this if anybody ever catches him. Honestly, not even sure how he can get away with this without any sort of repercussions. But like, hey, maybe
it's like his own personal killdozer.
Yeah,
legs.
Like this guy's a menace.
Everybody gets a killdozer in this show.
Yeah, the Tegasword makes its escape, while Ryugi discovers this golden gleam of treasure that the Tegasword was able to dig up that Tono sadly didn't see in time. But then the fucking treasure hunter blows up another building looking for treasure, and they got to deal with that because they can't just ignore that.
Like, why is he blowing up buildings? Why can't he use a door and walk up the stairs like a normal person? Like, come on.
Yeah,
you got all these powers. You still have to blow up a building? Like, come on.
Yeah, he's gonna obliterate the treasure that he's looking for, unless he's like trying to get the copper.
Yeah.
From like the vault or something.
Number one copper thief.
The number one copper stripper. But yeah, Rikuo, he looks. I guess he doesn't know what the fuck treasure hunting is because he's so busy being a SoundCloud idol rapper that he Googles the definition and it's like, oh, this is too much work. But then he is inspired by the treasure hunter, being a thief, and decides, to copy him. And this motherfucker Rikuo is literally like the. I know I said earlier that like Tono's a menace, but this guy is legitimately the most fucking manipulative person maybe in all of Sentai. Like he literally tricks these two elderly fans into thinking he has a throat condition to, take advantage of their goodwill and get one of their priceless vases from the Edo period. And, yeah, it really goes to show his sort of manipulative personality. And it's a hell of a cast here with this. This is part of why it's so exciting, because, like, these people are barely heroes in their own right.
Yeah. Borderline assholes. No, actually, no. Blue was an asshole for doing that.
Yeah. Well, Tono was a near mass murderer.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Excavating a park with his giant robot. Yeah, this really is like the... I already said that, like, Stone Brothers felt like the Always Sunny of Sentai, but this is, like, really some Always Sunny.
It's kicking up, oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll cut to an actually pretty wholesome moment with Tono and the kid Aoi, who's at the half-century cafe that Tono kind of bums around at. Mm-hmm. And he gives him half his rice ball that he says his mom puts all his favorite stuff in. And it's very meaningful. It's almost like a treasure in its own right. And it's a very sweet moment. And it then cuts to the end of the treasure hunting contest, where the treasure hunter, no one, gains the number one title because he has the most treasure. Because, like, he actually knows what he's doing, despite our bumbling heroes. But,
and he was cheating. He had dowsing rods when he flew off the first time. He was getting led right to it. Our heroes had to go and look for it. They had to hunt for it.
But, now that he's won this number one battle, he's ready to hunt the world. And Cassius Bell shows up with his own giant robot, which has a giant shovel. And Tono shows up, objects about the idea of stealing, being hunting. And he's like, you know what, if we may have lost the treasure hunt battle, but can you win the ass-beating battle? And transforms and begins the fight. Yeah, we do get another ring sequence, just like episode 1, which I hope we get one for each episode, because they even changed the dialogue up a bit, even if it's the same ranger, like, going up. So I'm really excited to see what they do with that every episode.
Yeah, they did that. They did that, like, corner of the ring shit talking before a fight, and it felt it added that to that, like, it felt like a ring fight.
Oh yeah. Kind of like a NetherRealm game where they they have like the special dialogue before a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need that to be a series stable because that really just gets the old blood pumping, you know.
It does.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, then we get the other two transforming, and we have Goju Tyranno activating his Megazord form with a Tegasword Yellow, which Tegasword Red, a Goju Wolf's version, is like the default, but then the other ones, it's the Tegasword combined with their personal weapon. And Tegasword Yellow is probably my personal favorite for the...
for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it looks really cool. Tyranno engages with Cassios. Meanwhile, Goju Leon's dealing with the grunts, and he whips out the Boom Boonger Sentai ring. And
Hell yeah, I did.
Turns into Boon Red. And they do... So this is the third season to have past Ranger form changes, which would get repetitive, but I really like what they do here, to where they only transform into past Reds, but they still have like their corresponding like chest piece. So it's like Boon Red with Goju Leon's blue chest piece, and it's a very unique combination there. Like I like the twist on the old formula. Plus, he still has not only the Boon Wheel gun, I forget the name of it, but he also has his own personal weapon, the Leon Buster 50.
I think another thing about this scene that I really enjoy is that we have rider fights going on, and we have Zord fights going on.
Yeah.
Oh,
At the same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same battlefield, same time, sometimes even in the same shot. Like
the scale just is so much bigger.
Yeah.
It is. Oh man, it's so good.
Oh, yeah, it's just perfect how they all like. It feels like a full-out war between these two factions. How they're, because it's like the whole point of this show is that they wanted to make each Ranger individually powerful to where they could even rival up against a common rider. So they're really taking advantage of that by having them all fight separately against these different parts of the villain factions. So it's like you got Tyranno dealing with the Megazord fight, and Leon dealing with the grunts, and then you have Goju Wolf beating ass on the Treasure Hunter, and of course we get another even better Tekken combo where it's like instead of it being like a flat like 2D looking shot, it like shows it starts off like with the monster closer in perspective as Goju Wolf's beating on him, and it like zooms in with like this cell shaded style. Kind of reminded me of like Smash 4 3DS graphics, and then it like the shot like reverses angles to where Goju Wolf is closer, and it's like you can really tell how much like a video game it's edited when like one of Goju Wolf's like kicks towards him. It like you hear two different hits, like each hitbox is connecting, and like even the monster like instantly switches to that sort of like falling upward animation you'd see in a fighting game. And like the final hit, like you see like a gust of wind blow out from the other side of the monster's head, and like it looks like they used real wind with a bit of CG with it. It looks so cool. Like he gave that monster fucking brain damage with that shit.
The perspective,
it's just so sick.
The perspectives and just camera changes and the zoom, the quick cuts and zooms. It felt so good, and it really felt like you were just watching a hype fight. Which I mean, it was a hype fight, but like it really felt like you were just in it.
Yeah. Every single episode has got to have like a Tekken combo like this.
Yeah.
If it,
This has got to be the formula right here. If this is the one thing that they keep being like a regular thing for every episode, it better be this.
This has to be series staple number 2 after the ring.
After the ring,
I will
exactly.
give a 5-star on Lit Serialized to every single episode that has a combo like this, because it's like just the most addicting sequences I've ever seen in a Otaku. Like, they really came up with something special here, and it's really great.
Moments, check. Aura, check. Good writing, double check. It all comes together, bro. Full circle peak.
Yeah, cuts back to the Megazord fight. Tyranno launches Cassios in the air, delivers the deific Dino Strike finisher, Tyranno Hammer Crush. And I should mention, like, as that's happening, Cassios has like a little like pinup photo of him.
I
and
love
Fire
that.
It's so adorable. It makes me think they're a little more than just best friends, because like who the fuck just has a little pinup of their friend when they think they're about to die?
And they were
In the
roommates.
cockpit too.
Yeah.
They were roommates.
Oh yeah, and Goju Wolf does make sure to plunge his Tegasword into Treasure Hunter's body to pull the lady out that got absorbed, and yeah, just obliterates the monster. And we get yet another badass win card with Goju Wolf, because he is number 1 once again.
I think it's cool that the no ones are using like actual people as a host. It really makes them feel like parasitic, but they still have their own like personalities.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, because in Boom Boom it was all animate objects that would become auto monsters, but here it's like actual people are being accosted and assimilated into.
Yeah, that's got me wondering, like, is every number 1 just gonna have like its own like hostage situation going on where like it needs to like get someone in order for them to like to show up on Earth, you know?
Yeah, that's my guess, because I noticed there's like a connection where it's like whatever the no one's specialty is, it resonates with like a specific human's desire. In this case, the landlady's desire for money and treasure. So I feel like there will be a bit of like, it'll tie into sort of like a moral for the episode or something like that. And yeah, that's pretty cool.
After they had pulled Landlady out of Treasure Hunter, he like stumbles backwards and explodes. That was sick. That was cool. Those finishing explosions always get me. They're so good.
Mm-hmm. There's everything, just all the effects are just like class, just absolutely class this time around.
Oh yeah, and like we get the actual like stock footage transformation sequences for the first time, and they do look like really cool. It's so flashy, and like even something as simple as like Goju Leon using the Boom Boonger ring, like it shows like little rings of like close-ups of him like doing the little clapping motion to activate, and it's just pure style and exuberance. It's really fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. If you watch any Sentai, make this your first one.
Oh yeah,
This is the best time to get into Sentai. 50th anniversary, 50 years of peak.
Oh yeah, it's 50 years of history and ass kicking rolled into one. This is the singular point of Sentai as we know it, and yeah, we are going to we're gonna go full Bakugami Ryugi with it and just shill this show religiously to as many people as possible.
Lord, take a sword.
Oh yeah. So yeah, so we cut back to the half-century cafe where we finally get all three so far Rangers like convened there, and Rikuo wants to introduce everybody. The landlady comes back to ask about rent again. May or may not be a reference to Spider-Man 3. We're not sure, but these themes are pretty universal.
Parker, where's my rent?
Oh yeah, another detail is that since Ryugi's there, the cafe is now strewn out in Tegasword and Gojuger memorabilia, just because he's such a fanatic and wants to make Tegasword his entire personality. So a nice way to explain why the base would have like all that imagery in it, make it feel very natural. So that's pretty cool.
It wasn't even just merchandise; they had a whole menu for it. They got the specialty Tegasword Omu rice, yeah, shaped in the form of the Tegasword like morpher. It was sick. It was cool.
Oh yeah, well, definitely looks more appealing than the Gotchard omelet that me and Ben have seen.
Oh yeah,
you remember?
Oh god.
Man, freaking moldy
blue eggs.
Yeah, that's something I'll never fucking eat in my life.
Because they're like, oh yeah, Hodoro sucks at cooking, so we do too. Check it out.
Yeah.
Like,
But,
Hodoro sucks at cooking Resident Evil burger.
But it is revealed that Rikuo did, in fact, give the vase back. So, he didn't just totally rob them.
Yeah, not a full asshole, half
Yeah.
asshole.
Yeah, he's an asshole for the sake of the mission. He does what he wants to.
And
Everybody here just wants to win, so that's why they're just immediately pulling out fucking their swords.
this dude autographed the vase and then had the audacity to take a selfie with it and the elderly couple, which was wild.
I bet they were stopped when they saw that autograph. It's like, this is a fucking ancient artifact. Like, how the fuck can you deface it with a Sharpie? Or maybe they're so starstruck that they think they made the vase even better. Who knows?
They're probably so starstruck. I wouldn't be surprised if they broke the vase, took that little chunk with his autograph, and just framed it right then and there.
Yeah, they probably don't even give a fuck that he deceived them and lied about having a throat condition. But the episode ends with Tono running off to the next job interview and Tsutsumi vowing vengeance. That's the end of these episodes. Basically the best 2 first episodes to maybe any Sentai ever. Like, they're going all out from the very beginning.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
2 episodes, each of them #1.
Oh yeah, it's like, the tagline of the show is there can't be 5 #1s. But I think by the time this whole show is over, we might have 50 #1s of pure quality. And the journey has only just begun, and it's going to be a great year going through this show with my good friends as we indulge in some fine Sunday morning children's tokusatsu.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this year's gonna shape up nicely for this show. I can already feel it. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be real good.
It's gonna be a whole year of just achieving enlightenment when it comes to just tokusatsu in general.
Honestly.
Yeah, no man, it's been just absolutely phenomenal.
We're gonna be so enlightened. We're gonna be plugging our own pianos and popping them down and singing them.
I'm piano shopping right now.
I got my keyboard. That works.
Let's start. But until then, this has been Otaku Sentai Podranger, and we are now signing off. We will see you in the next #1 battle.
See you next game.
See ya.
See you guys.